25th, 2024 afternoon session of the Portland City Council. Rebecca, please call the roll.
Brian,
Here.
Gonzalez,
Here.
Knapp's,
Here.
Rubio, here. Wheeler.
Now I'll turn it over to legal counsel for the rules of order and decorum.
Welcome to the Portland City Council. To testify before council in person or virtually, you must sign up in advance on the council agenda at www.portland.gov/council/agenda. Information on engaging with city council can be found on the council's clerk's webpage. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during city council meetings. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. A timer will indicate when your time is done. Disruptive conduct, such as shouting, refusing to conclude your testimony when your time is up, or interrupting others' testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If you cause a disruption, a warning will be given. Further disruption will result in ejection from the meeting. Anyone who fails to leave once ejected is subject to arrest for trespass. Additionally, council may take a short recess and reconvene virtually. Your testimony today should address the matter being considered. When testifying, state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Disclose if you are a lobbyist. If you are representing an organization, please identify it. For testifiers joining virtually, please unmute yourself once the council clerk calls your name. Thank you.
Thank you. And Rebecca, could you please read our first agenda item?
Item 340, adopt the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan amendments to the Comprehensive Plan Map, Zoning Map, and Zoning Code.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Today we are holding a hearing on adopting the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan. This plan proposes amendments to the comprehensive plan and to the comprehensive plan map, I should say, and zoning changes which would allow more neighborhood businesses and housing options, together with recommendations for transportation safety projects. This work represents a collaboration between city bureaus to address the needs of an area in Southeast Portland that has historically lacked complete transportation infrastructure and local commercial services. This ordinance is brought to us by the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability and the Bureau of Transportation. I will now invite Commissioner Rubio to provide opening remarks. Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Commissioner Maps. I'm excited to bring forward the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan. The plan is part of our own ongoing work to create a more equitable city in which all Portlanders have access to opportunity and can get around their neighborhoods safely. The plan focuses on Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood and nearby areas, and it is an important step toward addressing the area's long-standing lack of commercial services and gaps in transportation infrastructure. As we will hear from staff in a moment, the plan evolved over 2 years of community conversations about the increasing opportunities for neighborhood businesses, housing diversity, and safe transportation. It is intended to help realize the community's vision of becoming a complete neighborhood where people can meet more of their daily needs locally and can afford to live in their communities. Because complete neighborhoods require both local services and the ability to safely travel to destinations, this plan was, from its inception, both about land uses and transportation, and was therefore a joint effort of the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability and the Bureau of Transportation. And I'm pleased that I'm co-sponsoring this ordinance together with Commissioner Maps. The plan takes a very strategic approach to focusing zone changes to allow for more businesses and housing options along transit corridors and in mixed-use centers in the plan area, so that more people can live close to services in transit. The plan also seeks to limit impacts on the area's existing affordable housing and its moderate income ownership housing. So I'll now turn it over to Commissioner Maps for additional remarks.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Rubio. I'm proud to join you in bringing forward this collaboration between PBOT, Planning and Sustainability, and community members. And I want to pause here and really call out and celebrate our community members. They have made an indispensable contribution to this project. Several years ago, neighbors in Brentwood-Darlington pressed this council to take a comprehensive look at the transportation and land use needs in this neighborhood. And they didn't stop there. Neighbors also helped us secure funding to support this work, and they helped us develop a set of transportation recommendations that will complement proposed land use changes. The transportation recommendations proposed in this ordinance will make it safer and more convenient to move around Brentwood, Darlington by walking, biking, rolling, and taking public transportation. These changes include a realignment of an important bus line which serves the area and connects the neighborhood to the rest of the city. And as the commissioner in charge of PBOT, I want to just pause here and thank our friends and partners over at TriMet for their collaboration on that last issue. Lastly, I want to acknowledge a hard truth. There are many transportation needs in Brentwood, Darlington, which remain unmet and unfunded, but I want to reassure the residents of Brentwood, Darlington, that as long as I serve in City Hall, I'm committed to seeking funding to support that work, and I suspect that every member of council would make that same pledge to you. I'll close by thanking our partners and community members for their hard work, for their trust, and for their patience. And now, Commissioner Rubio, I'll turn the floor back to you.
Thank you. So now it's a pleasure to introduce Patricia Diefendorfer and other staff from BPS and PBOT to lead us through the presentation.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Patricia Diefendorfer, Chief Planner, Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, and I'm joined by the staff who will be making presentation, Shane Valley from the Bureau of Planning and Bureau of Transportation, and Bill Cunningham from the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. Very quickly, though, before I turn it over to them, I did want to just provide a few opening remarks. You've heard already a great deal about the community, the collaboration between the bureaus and the collaboration with the community. This plan is a result of that strong partnership between the city bureaus and also working together with the community, who not only advocated for to help seek funding for the project, but also wrote letters. 17 different community organizations wrote letters in support of a grant that ultimately the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability did obtain a state transportation and growth management grant. So about the plan, this is a very strategic and targeted plan, both in terms of focusing zone changes so more people can be close to amenities and transit, and in terms of keeping to a scale of development that is not very different from the existing zoning and development that exists there currently. To provide a sense of the targeted nature and the scale of these changes, it's notable that the proposed zoning changes represent less than 7% of the plan area. The predominant zone change is to the small-scale RM1 multi-dwelling zone, which is similar in scale to the area's existing single-dwelling zoning, but will create an opportunity for more housing options, such as townhouses and small apartment buildings that can offer both more home ownership and rental housing opportunities. The area zoning will remain, however, predominantly single-family, going from 74% currently to 71% ultimately with the changes. Essential to this plan was a closely coordinated approach to coordinating land use and transportation. Transportation elements comprise both local street improvements that make it safer to get around on smaller residential streets, as well as corridor and transit improvements that improve connections to destinations within the plan area, which will be described in greater detail. The proposed plan, both land use and transportation components, complement a number of efforts taking place in the vicinity, including the East Portland Tax Increment Financing District exploration process and planned transportation improvements on 82nd Avenue. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to staff for the details of the plan. Thank you.
I think I have the mic on. Thank you, Patricia, for the introduction. Good afternoon, commissioners. For the record, I'm Bill Cunningham with the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, and with me is Shane Valley with PBOT. We have been co-project managers of the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan, which has been very much a joint effort of our two bureaus. And I'm going to switch over to a full screen view of this presentation. Just a second. All right, I think we're ready to roll. We're here to provide an overview of the Planning Commission's recommended Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan, which the Planning Commission voted to forward to you on November 14th. We ask that you hold your questions to the end as we have a fair amount of material to go through. The action before council is to adopt an ordinance to amend the Comprehensive Plan's urban design framework and the Comprehensive Plan map, as well as to amend the zoning map and associated zoning code maps. The plan also includes a directive to include the plan's transportation projects in an update to the transportation system plan, which process is starting later this year. Wanted to provide a very brief overview of what we'll be presenting to you today. We'll start with a little bit of project background, some about public engagement, which was really instrumental to shaping the plan, and then provide an overview of the land use recommendations, followed by Shane covering the transportation recommendations, and then next steps. I do want to note for the record that the public record documents are available on the project website, as well as on in the project e-files box, whose URL addresses are on the screen. Also wanted to note that we took a look at where public testimony stood as of 1 p.m. It looked like there were 40 pieces of written testimony, and 7 people had signed up for real-time testimony. Want to highlight on terms of where the plan is focusing on. The plan is really focusing on the Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood and adjacent areas, including parts of the Woodstock, Mount Scott-Erlita, and Lentz neighborhoods. The core focus area is Brentwood-Darlington. That's the area that has the biggest gaps in transportation infrastructure and the fewest commercial services. As Patricia was mentioning, this is towards the end of what's been an over 2-year process, and it's really been shaped by extensive community feedback. It would not be where it is now without that community involvement. And I should mention too that the community was actually active in identifying issues in this area back in 2017 and before then, and I'll say a little bit about that later. But the community, as Patricia mentioned, was instrumental in getting the whole project started and helping us receive a state transportation and growth management grant. So really a critical piece. And I want to mention, we didn't have any assumptions as to what the project was going to do, what specific implementation measures. The project started out talking to the community to identify what are the issues, what are your priorities, and as we develop potential solutions, we ask them which of these solutions are most important to you. So it's very much an iterative working with community effort. A key concept that's been part of this work, and it relates to city policies, are about creating complete communities, complete neighborhoods where people have options to be able to meet more of their needs locally with local services and safe ways to get there. And this heat map was used in our comprehensive plan analysis of complete neighborhoods. And the hot areas glowing there are showing areas that have commercial and community services plus safe transportation connections like sidewalks to get there. And you can see that around Woodstock, around the Woodstock Main Street, it's definitely glowing in terms of having some of that complete neighborhood fabric. But you go further south into Brentwood-Darlington, the purple areas, and what that purple is showing is this area both lacks the local commercial services as well as complete transportation infrastructure to get there. And one thing that really highlights this too is this next slide, and this is showing in red where we have existing sidewalks. And the core of the plan area is outlined in blue, and you can see that it looks relatively blank, not a lot of complete transportation infrastructure. And it's not just sidewalks, it's a lot of the other pieces. And as background too, this area of town, Brentwood-Darlington, did not join the city of Portland until 1986. So a lot of development happened during the county days when they did not require sidewalks. Just returning to the community engagement a little bit. As I mentioned, this project was very much in response to the community's identification of needs. There was a Brentwood-Darlington Say Our Name project that was community-led, actually in cooperation with Portland State students. And that was in 2017, and that really got the community thinking about how can we make our neighborhood a better place, a place that works for more people in terms of getting around, having needs met. We should also mention that we initially sent a mailing out to all residents in the area, over 15,000 addresses, to make people aware that we're looking at solutions and trying to identify issues in the area. We had an initial survey where people were identifying issues, completed by more than 1,500 people. We had neighborhood walks and bike rides. We took particular attention to try to reach community groups that don't usually come to planning processes, such as canvassing apartment complexes as well as manufactured home parks. And we had focused outreach with members of our Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese language communities. And we went to the community where they meet and had tabling events at various community gathering locations. The major plan components are very much informed by that public outreach. The two main components are land use map changes, and they focus on expanding opportunities for neighborhood commercial uses, as well as expanding housing opportunities. And that responds to the two most important things community said we needed to work on for land uses in the area. One was expanding neighborhood businesses, and secondarily addressing housing affordability. And transportation safety was always a very critical issue. You can't ignore that. It's definitely not land use by itself. It's transportation was critical. And an overriding concern too was looking at how we can do these things and support community stabilization so everyone can benefit from these future improvements. I'm going to briefly go over the land use proposals before turning things over to Shane. Just one thing to note here, in this map, the yellow and orange areas are showing the single-family zoning, and they're 74% of the land area, so very predominantly single dwelling, which is an important thing. What is not so much available, especially in Brentwood-Darlington, is commercial. Most of the commercial that does exist, so the red-pink tones are in Woodstock and in Foster, but not much further south. This next diagram is showing designated neighborhood centers. Part of our complete neighborhoods approach is to designate centers that serve as hubs for community services and activity. And you can see the Woodstock Neighborhood Center, Heart of Foster, and Lentz. And that circle is showing a half-mile, typically walkable distance. And you can see it doesn't quite reach down to Brentwood-Darlington. Basically, they're out of walking distance to most of those major commercial hubs. And one of the key things I'll be sharing with you is this plan is proposing to designate a new neighborhood, Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Center, centered around 72nd and Faville to help meet needs in that area. I'm not going to go into the details of zoning, but I wanted to highlight the kind of the array of zones that are being expanded. The most common rezoning that is being proposed, and it's the vast majority of rezones to what are currently single dwelling zoned areas, is to the small scale RM1 multi-dwelling zone. And that zone is really intended to be compatible with single family areas. It allows the same general height, 2 to 3 stories, same lot coverage, but it provides flexibility for numbers of units. The more medium scale zones like RM2 and CM2 are really focused directly on the transit corridors and in the core of the mixed use centers. And we're moving on to a key slide, which is showing in color the areas that are proposed for zone changes. And as Patricia is saying, the zone changes focused very strategically on the major corridors such as 52nd and 72nd and in mixed-use centers that shown in gold or orange is that proposed Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood center. And one thing it's important to mention too is what you're seeing here is reflective of what we heard as the community's preferred approaches for land use. We had solutions put out to the community ranging from no change to minor changes along some of the corridors to a greater amount of change, including proposing this new neighborhood center. And more people out of about over 500 people selected the neighborhood center and corridor growth approach than all the other scenarios combined. So in terms of the hundreds of people we heard from, there was quite a bit of support for this, and it was the basis of our zone changes. Diving down into the Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Center, the gold line is showing the idea that the zone changes would support of a neighborhood main street or commercial district for the neighborhood. It extends what is basically 2 half blocks to being a bit more like 3 or 4 block neighborhood Main Street. And there are rezones to that. What is more than 100% corner is 72nd and Flaville. It also includes some changes to zoning, adding in the blue multi-dwelling zoning. And the areas a little bit further from 72nd, between 72nd and 82nd, are being proposed to that small-scale RM1 zone. So more flexibility for numbers of units, but keeping things to the existing allowed neighborhood scale. One other note, 82nd of Flaville, there's a commercial node there that is currently zoned light industrial or employment. What's there now is really small businesses that are more commercial services. And the rezones propose commercial zoning for that node on 82nd. It's also important because it's close to a number of manufactured home complexes and apartments, and this could serve, intent is to serve as an anchor for services for that area. This diagram is highlighting where those expanded commercial zoning components are, and you can see it in that new neighborhood center. But we're also expanding the zoning at some of the major existing commercial hubs. Actually, I shouldn't say major, they're pretty small, but trying to grow some of the commercial areas that are already there at some of the intersections. And the area of greater expansion is really in the multi-dwelling zones, which was really tied to expanding housing options and allowing a greater diversity. So you could see here that they are focused on the corridors and in the center. One thing that goes along with the zoning is along 52nd and 72nd, which we're proposing to designate as neighborhood corridors, places important for both transportation and land use. And that designation would allow, in the multi-dwelling zones, people to have small commercial uses on their ground floors. And there are a number of home-based businesses in the area that this could really allow more some growth and public-facing aspect to it. And I do want to mention, too, that, again, it is strategic. As Patricia had mentioned, we'd be going with these residential changes, going from 74% single dwelling to 71%. So there's a 3% change in the single dwelling zoning. It'll be very predominantly single dwelling moving into the future. One thing we were very intentional about was looking at where we have existing unregulated low-cost apartment complexes, which you can see mapped in the stars, and where the manufactured dwelling parks are. And part of the plan approach was to not upzone those properties to really encourage their retention and not add to redevelopment pressures. There are also several rezones to properties that the Bureau of Environmental Services already owns close to Johnson Creek, and they're about 6.5 acres total. And these are properties that would become part of BES's ongoing work in floodplain and habitat restoration. One thing we looked at as part of the project too, related to community stabilization, was to look at what are the impacts on community stability in the area. One thing that came out of the analysis is this area has significantly higher home ownership rates than the city as a whole. So when people own their homes, they have more control over what happens and less likelihood that they'll be forced out in any way. Another thing is that, again, most of the rezones to single dwelling or to a very small scale low-rise multi-dwelling zone that our analysis is showing would not increase the rate of development. It just happens, when development happens, you'd be able to get more units and more different types of units. The mid-scale mixed-use zoning is mostly in properties with little housing. Sometimes it's already a very low-scale commercial zoning. And another key thing is that expanding opportunities for housing and allowing more housing types, such as apartments, that are affordable to a broader range of households compared to single-family houses, is a key long-term approach to community stability. If we did nothing and your main options in the area are just single-family and townhouses, who can afford to live in the area be very limited. So it's really about expanding options in a very strategic way so more people can continue in the future to be able to live in the area. Just overview of the community stabilization approaches, as I mentioned before. One was the preservation of low-cost housing by zoning approaches, also expanding commercial and mixed-use zoning, or multi-dwelling zone expands where our inclusionary housing requirements apply, and one of our few tools for requiring affordable units as part of development. And then the plan does identify opportunities to align with ongoing efforts related to community economic development and affordable housing. There, as you may know, there's an East Portland tax increment financing district exploration in East Portland that includes the 82nd corridor. And there's community interest in that possibility to have more tools to address small businesses and affordability, and as well as interest in being more intentional about having affordable housing investments in the area. The area is fortunate to have an existing Brentwood-Darlington Community Center where there's community interest in finding ways to grow its role to have more of a resource hub for the community, connecting people to opportunities. And I wanted to be very crystal clear as to what the changes are that you're considering. I mentioned the urban design framework diagram from the comprehensive plan. This would be identifying the Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Center as another center amongst our constellation of designated centers to be a hub for services, as well as designating Southeast 52nd and 72nd, or portions of it, as neighborhood corridors in that diagram as key streets. And then implementing those zone changes I provided an overview of would be amendments to the comprehensive plan map and the zoning map, which are very closely aligned, one being about long-term land use and one being about specific current zoning. And there are a couple zoning code maps that would need to be amended to map the newly designated corridors. So enough of land use. I'm turning things over to Shane.
Thank you, Bill. My name is Shane Valley. I am a senior planner with the Bureau of Transportation, for the record, co-project manager with Bill here. Next slide. So I'm going to walk you guys through what's in the transportation side of Lower Southeast Rising. And first, I want to talk about what are the things that our recommendations are responding to. Broadly, we heard three things. The first is that traffic safety is a huge concern, and there was a large demand for traffic calming. And this is sort of exacerbated by the deficiencies that Bill alluded to, the sort of the lack of safe and complete walking and biking infrastructure in this part of town. The second thing that we heard about was that access to businesses and services in this corner of town is pretty limited. And this is where that partnership between BPS and PBOT really pays off, because addressing this is a two-part equation. One part is making sure that those businesses and services are within a distance that it's reasonable to ask folks to walk, to bike, to take transit to. And then once the possibility is there, we need to make sure that the infrastructure is in place such that it feels safe and convenient and dignified for us to ask people to make that choice. And then the third thing that we heard about was that the transit network, as it stood at the beginning of this plan area, the buses didn't come often enough, and they didn't really take folks to the places that they wanted to go in the neighborhood. Next slide, please. So to address those kind of three broad concerns, we developed three approaches. The first are a series of transportation capital projects that we're recommending that would be delivered by the City of Portland and would improve walking and biking options in and around the district. The second set of recommendations are we developed in partnership with TriMet and consultant Jarrett Walker and Associates concern changes to the bus network to support some of the community goals and to support the BPS land use vision. And then the third approach that we're recommending is to prioritize among that sort of vast need of local street improvements to move the ball forward. Next slide. So I'm going to walk through each one of those buckets so you guys kind of understand what we're recommending in the plan. The bulk of the recommendations are these transportation projects, these capital projects that would be delivered by the city, and they come in two flavors that work together. The first are corridor improvements, and they address conditions on busy streets. So they're things like safer crossings, better bikeways, streetscape improvements in Main Street areas. And those are complemented by neighborhood greenways. And you might be familiar with these. We have kind of a network that spans across the city, but it's pretty sparse in this part of town. And so this is establishing a more comprehensive neighborhood greenway network, which are low-stress streets where it's easy for folks to walk, bike, roll, and sometimes even play in the middle of the street. Next slide. And this is kind of a conceptual diagram that shows how these work together. As in many other parts of Portland, this part of Portland is physically structured similarly, where you have this fine-grained grid of neighborhood streets that are more residential, and they're bounded on the outside by busier streets. And so what we've done is we've sort of asked ourselves, what needs to happen on these busier streets such that they're safer, more convenient for folks to move to and along and to cross? And then with the neighborhood greenways, we were asking ourselves, what is needed to bring people from sort of these quieter, more residential parts of the neighborhood to the busier streets where those concentrations of businesses and services. Next slide. Oh, other direction. And so this is that conceptual framework as applied to the plan area. And so in orange, you can see those corridor improvement projects that are addressing safety needs on the busier streets. Many of them are co-aligned with where BPS is making land use recommendations and designation recommendations. And then the neighborhood greenways kind of fill in the gaps there, bringing folks from the residential parts of the neighborhood to those busy streets and across those busy streets. Next slide. And this is just an example of in the plan. So that map that shows all of the different projects, if you go into the plan, you'll find a sheet for every single one of those projects that describes in more detail what issues we're trying to address and what sort of our proposals are for addressing them to a medium level of detail. And sort of the next step is to work more closely with folks and community members living up and down those streets to suss out what those details look like. So moving on to the second sort of set of recommendations that we're making, the bus network recommendations that we made in partnership with TriMet, Jarrett Walker and Associates, and community members. If for a second you just ignore the arrows on this screen here and you look underneath, that's showing what the bus network used to be when we started this planning effort. And so the solid blue lines represent the frequent service bus lines. And you can see how they're pretty much absent from the middle of this plan area. And so that was really the biggest thing we heard was like, can we get some frequent service here? So on top of that, there were a few sort of network tweaks that folks in this part of town wanted us to make. They wanted a sort of a seamless east-west connection on Woodstock Boulevard between the Woodstock Main Street and the Lentz Town Center. They also wanted an east-west connection on Flavel, connecting nodes of businesses and services at 52nd Avenue, 72nd Avenue, 82nd with the MAX station at 92nd and Flavel. And then some better north-south service on Southeast 72nd Avenue that connects sort of the heart of the Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood with the Mount Scott Community Center, which is kind of this beloved community asset. So luckily for us, luckily for community members, TriMet was undergoing its own service planning effort at the same time. It was called Forward Together, you may recall. And because TriMet worked so closely with us on Lower Southeast, they were able to kind of take many of our recommendations and plug them directly into their service plan. And so some of the recommendations that are going to be rolled out in the next 2 to 5 years are that improved or that streamlined east-west service on Woodstock Boulevard, served by the Line 4 now. Improved north-south service on 52nd Avenue, served by the Line 71, and then more frequent service. You see more of those thick blue lines, and so folks are pretty happy about that coming to the area. Next slide. And then last but not least are our local street improvements. And as the commissioner alluded to in his opening remarks, we have to sit kind of with two uncomfortable realities, and these are the same sort of realities we asked community members to sit with when we talked with them one-on-one or in groups, that the infrastructural need in this part of town is immense, on the order of several $100 million to bring it up to the same kind of standard as other parts of Portland. And the other uncomfortable reality is that in any kind of near-term sense, the city doesn't have the capacity to bring it up to that standard. But we still wanted to move the ball forward. And so in talking with folks about that, we heard two things. One was just frustration that living and moving in this part of Portland is just very different than the experience in other parts of Portland. Shares a lot of kinship with parts of East Portland, but hasn't received even as much attention as East Portland has. There are neighborhood streets in the winter that are impassable. Because they are bodies of water that have names. The community members name the seasonal bodies of water in certain streets. And then during the summer, when the unpaved streets dry out and cars drive down the road, there are clouds of dust that hang in the air that make it hard to just be outside, let alone walk or bike in the street. So that was one thing we heard. The other thing that we heard that was as kind of allowing us to move forward is that, yes, this infrastructure really needs some help. And in the meantime, a way that we can move forward is this infrastructure could work a lot better if we could find a way to calm the traffic in these neighborhoods, to basically share the street in a more courteous fashion. The way that folks sort of drive on the street doesn't feel comfortable for the folks who are outside of cars because there's no separate place for them to be. And so what you're seeing here is kind of our prioritized list of places where either through community feedback or because they align with primary safe routes to school investments, they support the BPS land use vision, or they are collinear with those transportation recommendations. These are sort of the the first dollar sort of that we want to be spending on addressing the condition of the local street improvements. Next slide. And just as an example, this is work that actually we've done in this part of the plan area recently. In Arrow Heights, we're sort of on the cusp of completing the Arrow Heights Street Improvement Project, which was a partnership with the Bureau of Environmental Services, where we needed to reconstruct some of the streets, primarily to deal with some stormwater issues, but we also kicked in some money to really help improve the ease of getting around. And so this is a 15-mile-an-hour street design, and when we design for a slower speed on a local street, it allows us to dig more deeply into our toolbox. We can use speed humps that are more close together. We can use chicanes, which you can see in that left photo, so the road's narrow and it kind of weaves back and forth. And what that does is it basically makes it so that people driving can't bomb down the street because they can't go in a straight line. And so this makes this space a lot more comfortable for people who aren't in a car to share the space. Next slide. And then this, I just wanted to highlight what the request is on the transportation side of things. So we're basically just asking that these recommendations that the projects that I talked about and the classifications that underline those projects, that you recommend or you direct staff to incorporate them as a part of the transportation system plan update, which will kick off later this year. Bill?
And just a few final words about the other parts of the ordinance. Really, the main parts of things that are really bringing action into the very near term would be amending land use mapping, both in terms of the comprehensive plan's urban design framework and the comprehensive plan map, as well as the zoning map corresponding to those changes. And as I mentioned, a couple zoning code maps that identify where designated corridors are. And one thing that's important to relate to the community is that the zone changes are not a requirement or a mandate for change. It's about expanding some options or choice for what happens to a property. If someone wants to keep their house exactly the way it is, they can do that. It's more moving into the future, especially zoning is very long range, expanding options and possibilities for what could happen. Just very briefly, today we are here with the briefing and the public hearing, and right now we have it scheduled for a vote on May 2nd at 2 p.m. And that's the end of staff's presentation, and I'm going to turn things over to Patricia before we tune out here.
Hi, again, Patricia Diefenhofer for the record. Just queuing us up for the next steps, we do have the Planning Commission Chair, Chair O'Meara, here to present the Planning Commission's recommendation. And then we do have two invited testimony members of the community who are part of the Community Advisory Committee that we would also like to have and be invited to testify. So we'll go ahead and step back and allow them to come in. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Should we have all three invited testimony, folks who are doing invited testimony, come up and join us at the table now? And thank you, Chair, for joining us. Why don't we'll let people get settled. And by the way, for staff, that was an excellent presentation on an excellent project. Thank you. And with that, I would like to invite our Commission Chair O'Meara, who heads up the Planning Commission, to present the Planning Commission's recommendations. Welcome, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mapps, and good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Mary Rain O'Meara, and I am the Chair of the Planning Commission. So today I am here representing the Planning Commission's recommendation to City Council to adopt the Lower Southeast Rising Plan as presented. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on the proposed plan draft on October 10th, 2023, followed by a work session on November 14th, 2023, where we voted unanimously to recommend adoption of the plan. This plan's focus on an area of Portland that has been historically underserved with infrastructure, transportation, and commercial improvements is significant. And the community engagement process, which you've heard about, to inform and develop the plan has been truly extensive. Of the plan's key features, and based on the public testimony received, the Planning Commission focused on community stability and transportation improvements during our deliberations. Under community stability, we appreciated hearing both support and concern from members of the public regarding potential destabilization that could be caused by zoning changes. The Planning Commission believes that the plan takes an appropriate approach to preserving affordability in the neighborhood while creating zoning changes that can allow for an expansion of affordable housing in the future. Overall zoning changes in the plan area represent just 6.7% of the overall zoned land area, and they are moderate in scale and density. By avoiding zone changes to mobile home parks and naturally occurring affordable housing and maintaining the majority of the single-family zoning for a continuation of home ownership opportunities, the plan strategically focuses potential development areas in the new neighborhood center and along transit corridors. We recognize that the plan itself will not create incentives for affordable housing and expanded commercial development in the neighborhood, but a range of future actions the city can take are outlined in the plan's community stabilization section. An example of that is the consideration of a tax increment finance district for the area, which could help catalyze financial investment for community serving development. The second area of deliberation for the Planning Commission was regarding the proposed transportation improvements for the neighborhood. We heard testimony emphasizing the need for pedestrian and bicycle safety, traffic calming, and sidewalk infrastructure for the area. The recommended plan addresses these issues identified by the community and achieves a good balance between safety improvements on busy corridors and on neighborhood streets. These investments should be prioritized over the coming years in partnership with PBOT and via incorporation into the transportation system plan. The Lower Southeast Rising Plan creates the roadmap for a future Brentwood, Darlington, and beyond that balances community stability with opportunity to grow neighborhood business and expanded housing options. It prioritizes safety for all those moving throughout the plan area with a variety of travel modes. The Planning Commission is pleased to provide our recommendation for the adoption of the Lower Southeast Rising Plan, and we extend our gratitude to the community members and staff who have shaped it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Hodge, welcome.
Just checking, it looks like the mic is on.
Yep.
So, Presiding Officer Maps, members of the City Council, my name is Pam Hodge. I'm speaking to you this afternoon as both a longtime resident of Brentwood, Darlington, the core study area, and as a member of the Project Advisory Committee. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak in support of the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan. First, let me say that when I was growing up, Brentwood Darlington was known as Felony Flats. Even today, Brentwood Darlington is still relatively disadvantaged. Brentwood Darlington has lower household income, higher social vulnerability, less tree canopy, and more industrial pollution. As you know, Brentwood Darlington was not annexed to the city until 1986. Like many residents, I believe that until very recently, annexation gave us sewers but little else. Before my specific comments on the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan, I want to thank you for the city's recent investment in Brentwood Darlington. I am particularly thankful for the completion of the Errol Heights Park. Thank you, Commissioner Ryan. The acquisition of land by BES for the restoration of Johnson Creek. Thank you, Commissioner Maps. And for the innovative deferred LID funding policy for the Errol Heights Street Improvement Project adopted by the City Council as a whole. Looking forward, I see the adoption of the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan as the necessary next step for the City Council in continuing its momentum to address decades of neglect. The adoption of the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan will, almost 40 years after annexation, finally establish the framework for becoming a complete neighborhood with amenities common to most city neighborhoods. I believe the proposed land use and related transportation changes are needed to attract private investment and ultimately create a more livable neighborhood where residents can thrive. That said, true community development is not all private development dollars supported by land use and transportation policy. It is also about nurturing and supporting the social fabric of the community. With respect to community development, Brentwood Darlington needs all the help it can get. Frankly, the energy of the neighborhood association is at low ebb, and potential community partners, such as the schools and nonprofits located within its boundaries, are persistently disconnected. I would urge you to pay particular attention to the community stabilization section of the plan, which provides numerous recommendations based on community feedback. These recommendations include repurposing of the Brentwood Darlington Community Center to serve as a community resiliency and resource hub, connecting residents to critical resources and services, including housing, employment, childcare, and public benefits, as well as serving as an emergency center during climate crises and other natural disasters. And pursuit of creative funding ideas for an even broader array of community development initiatives focused on affordable housing, workforce development, and business incubators. Creative funding strategies identified in the plan to support these initiatives include tax increment financing, Neighborhood Prosperity Initiative designation, Portland Clean Energy Fund grants, and funding from the Joint Office of Homeless Services. I support these recommendations with one further caveat, namely that whatever strategies the city adopts, that it also include concise performance metrics for funding recipients so that actual benefits accrue to the community they are designed to serve. In my opinion, there needs to be accountability and community oversight of these programs in order for them to be successful in meeting their intended goals. So in summary, I ask not only for adoption of the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan today, but also for your ongoing financial support of the community stabilization measures. I hope to see tangible benefits within my lifetime. Let future generations not look back in another 40 years or so and see a long neglected area of Portland that is yet to achieve its full potential. Again, thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan.
Thank you, Ms. Hodge. And colleagues, I believe we have one other member of the public who has been invited to testify before us today. Online, we have Valeria McWilliams. Welcome, Ms. McWilliams.
Thank you. Can you all hear me?
You're a little bit quiet, but I bet we can fix that in-house.
Okay.
Good.
Good. Okay. Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Valeria McWilliams. Today I'm speaking to you as a resident of the Lens neighborhood and member of the 22-person project advisory committee that was engaged during over 2 years of the planning efforts to develop the Lower Southeast Rising Plan that you're considering to approve today. I'm really excited to be here and grateful to support the adoption of the plan because it is aligned with our city's guiding principles and vision of fostering a more equitable, prosperous, healthy, and resilient city. There are many important areas of the plan that I would like to highlight, but I would focus on 4 as quickly as I can. The first one, inclusive community engagement. The project really sought to be inclusive in reaching out to the community, and staff shaped its proposals based on community feedback. The project made it a point to reach out to communities that have not often been involved in planning. Staff canvassed at apartment complexes and at mobile home parks, where with community partners on focus group discussion with the area's Spanish, Vietnamese, and Chinese language communities, and went into the community to reach community where they are, with open house workshops, tabling events at grocery stores, community centers, and other gathering places. They also provided different opportunities for the advisory committee to engage with this work, including public neighborhood walks and bike rides. This was really an outstanding effort by staff that should be presented as a model to the city's community involvement committee. Secondly, transportation equity, sustainability, and climate resiliency. The plan's recommended transportation projects rightly works to address gaps in the area's transportation infrastructure to make it easier and safer for people to walk along and cross busy streets, to have safe neighborhood greenway connections so people can walk and bike to school, parks, and other local destinations, and can safely walk on their local streets. I really appreciate that the project worked with TransMed to designate 2 new frequent service transit lines in the area, which has few such options. There are many lower income residents in Brentwood, Darlington, and Lens for whom transportation costs can consume a big part of their incomes. They need and truly deserve safe and efficient, low cost ways of getting around. and this plan is an important step in addressing these needs. Thirdly, housing options. The planned area is already becoming a place where lower income residents cannot afford to own or rent single family homes. The plan's expansions of multi-dwelling zoning will allow for a greater diversity of housing types, including apartments, that a broader range of households can afford. Importantly, this expanded zoning will allow to make it more feasible for affordable housing providers to develop affordable housing in the area. The plan also responds to the needs of lower income households by avoiding zone changes to mobile home parks and low-cost apartment complexes, which are an important housing resource for lower income families in the area that should be retained. The plan takes a light touch to zone changes, focusing these changes on corridors and in mixed-use centers so that more residents can live close to services and transit. These rezoning changes would not threaten one of Portland's last areas where moderate income people can afford homes. And lastly, access to commercial services. The plan's expansions of commercial zoning, especially in the new Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Center, which also include parts of Southern Lens around 82nd, will over time allow for more residents to live close to commercial services. Currently, the many lower-income households around Southeast 82nd near the city's southern boundary have no neighborhood businesses districts within walking distance. Most of the zoning here is for light industrial areas. The plan's expansions of commercial zoning in this area will provide more opportunities for local commercial services within walking distance of these residents for establishing businesses and for supporting the continuation of growth of existing small businesses. In conclusion, the plan does an excellent job of expanding access to opportunity in an area of town where this has been lacking, while taking a nuanced approach to changes to support community stability. Finally, I'd like to thank staff for this joint effort by PBOT and Planning and Sustainability folks, specifically Marty Stockton, Brian Pohl, Bill Cunningham, and Shane Valley, for all their hard work and for really uplifting the voices of our community that have informed this plan. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you so much, Madam McWilliams. Colleagues, or I'll double check, I believe that's the end of the formal presentation today. Colleagues, we could ask questions now. However, I believe we also have some public testimony on this. Do we want to ask questions or hear public testimony? Public testimony I'm seeing from Commissioner Ryan. So why don't we go to public testimony? Rebecca, could you please invite up our first testifier?
First, we have Nick Sovey. Nick's joining us online.
Welcome, Nick. 3 minutes. No need to give us your address, but a name would be good.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to testify. My name is Nick Sovey. I'm co-executive director of Rose Community Development, a neighborhood affordable housing provider and community builder that's worked to revitalize outer Southeast Portland neighborhoods since 1992. I'm a member of the Lower Southeast Rising Committee. I've lived in the project area for 25 years. Rose has had 3 different offices in the target area for the last 30 years. And Rose built and operates affordable housing in the area. I'm here to testify in favor of the Lower Southeast Rising Plan. The Plan Advisory Committee was very diverse with residents, business people, property owners, professionals. Within the committee, there was broad agreement in favor of the plan you see today, and neighborhood surveys consistently favored the option with the most density. Why is that? If you're concerned about climate change, high housing costs, homelessness, a balanced transportation network, a healthy neighborhood economy, and amenities like gathering places, parks, sidewalks. There's one thing that makes all these things better, and that's increased housing density. BPS has historically tracked zoning capacity to meet projected growth. That approach is failing. The city's housing production study found that Portland is short 120,000 units. The city instead should track real outcome, how much housing is actually being produced. Every part of the city should be contributing to meeting Portland's housing production goals, including Lower Southeast. Portland has one of the highest rates of homelessness in the U.S. Research in homelessness as a housing problem conclusively shows that homelessness is related and highest in cities with high housing costs and low vacancy rates. approving the Lower Southeast Rising Plan as a concrete step that City Council can take today to address Portland's housing affordability and homelessness crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Next, could we go to our next testifier, please?
Stephanie Frederick.
Welcome, Stephanie.
Good afternoon, Presiding Commissioner Mapps and Commissioner Rubio, Commissioner Gonzalez, and Commissioner Ryan. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here. My name is Stephanie Frederick. I'm the chair of the Brentwood-Darlington Neighborhood Association. And I'm here to ask you to adopt the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan because it's always good to have a plan. And it's even better to have a great plan, which is what BPS and PBOT have given us. And as you've heard from the testimony so far, the recommendations lay out a course of wise investment and action for our portion of inner Southeast Portland. And what's important to many of us is that the recommendations also support the city's climate emergency work plan. What I wanted to focus on most, since you've gotten a thorough overview of the plan, is the following: that we cannot overstate our appreciation for the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability and for PBOT. Their staff made this wonderful plan a reality despite one big setback after another: staffing, money, more other things. They kept going, very professional, very able, and they made this plan a reality for us. And we thank them deeply. I also want to thank Marty Stockton, Emeritus Planner. She has been our champion for years. And now, Marty, if you're listening, thank you. We have a plan. It's very exciting. And I'm going to stop now. I ask, please, that you adopt the plan. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Can we call up our next witness?
Jake Potosky.
Hi, Jake.
Hello.
3 minutes.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting testimony on the Southeast Rising Plan. My name is Jake Potosky. I moved to Portland only 3 years ago. And 2 years ago, I moved into my home in Brentwood, Darlington. You all have covered a lot of the technical reasons for passing this plan, so I apologize for the sentimentality of my testimony. But while my roots aren't yet deep here, this is the first city and the first neighborhood where I have felt like putting down those roots. I have a neighbor who's been living in his house since I was born. His late wife's family actually lived in the house we now own. We have a monthly happy hour with our neighbors. Some neighbors share eggs. Other neighbors share their Chinese long squash. Others share their gardening tips. All that to say, I love how connected this neighborhood is, how newcomers like myself are welcomed in by folks who have been here for decades. That foundation of neighborly connection is why I hope you'll pass the Southeast Rising Area Plan. Having seen how hard our neighborhood association works for us, how many neighbors are volunteers at groups like Schools Uniting Neighborhoods, and how much we all love this neighborhood, I want to see that all of us have a say in the future. I've already been able to enjoy recent investments in our parks and the new sidewalks that are going in along Flavel, so thank you for that. I just think that now's the opportunity to invest in our neighborhood so future generations have job opportunities in local businesses, safety from improved streets and accessibility, and so they can see that local leadership and neighborhood involvement can work together to achieve a higher quality of life for all. As a quick anecdote, I was stopping by one of the Sun events yesterday, Schools Uniting Neighborhoods, stepped in for a cooking class and got to watch some of the middle school kids working on cooking. They were very excited about it, very involved. And it struck me when I was thinking about the Southeast Rising Plan, where, if they wanted to continue this as a profession, where would they go in Portland? Portland's very well known for our food and our cuisine, but in the Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood, options are a little bit more limited. So I look forward to a future where those future generations might be able to join a fantastic new restaurant that might be the result of the Southeast Rising Plan. A silly example, but an example that's applicable nonetheless. That's all I have. Thank you all for the hard work on this plan between all the different agencies and groups, and thanks for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Jake. Next person, please.
Anna Weichsel.
Hi, Anna. Welcome.
You. So my name is Anna Weichsel. Dear Commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to share my support for the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan. As a resident of the planning area, chair of the Woodstock Neighborhood Association, and member of the Lower Southeast Rising Project Advisory Committee, I brought my thoughts to the planning process of a rather incomplete neighborhood. I also had the privilege to collaborating with the project leaders and design reviews with my architecture students at PSU. In 3 design studios titled Sponge City, we were working on innovative design concepts for the planning area that could counteract the usual pattern of gentrification and better support environmental sustainability, which we also shared with the project advisory committee to highlight possibilities for the area. Based on these various engagements with the team, I want to highlight the exceptionality of the planning process as a holistic development with integrative efforts coordinating land use, transportation, public transportation, economic and environmental planning strategies. The plan's recommendation for urban node development along 52nd and 72nd rather than the Portland typical commercial corridor zoning was favored by a majority of our residents in numerous discussions. The resident support focuses on a walkable neighborhood, sustainable transportation development, pedestrian safety, and strategic opportunities for small business developments, all components that will need ongoing support for community stabilization measures beyond the plan. As resident and architect, I strongly advocate for the plan's strategy to initiate a neighborhood center at the intersection of Flavel and 72nd. This area already combines grocery shops, small businesses, an elementary school, and a park, all core activities for a walkable neighborhood, which can function as an anchor for future developments. The increase in urban density around this area supports a mutual reliance between higher population density and local commercial growth. Furthermore, the plan substantiates its equitable urban development by broadening the range of housing types. The proposed zoning changes allowing for a mixture of multiplexes, apartment living, affordable housing, single-family homes, and the integration of existing manufactured home parks delineate a slow growth strategy supportive of the existing residents. Lastly, I'm particularly impressed with the proposed plan's balancing approach, creating a sustainable scale of urban density for a complete neighborhood and open land for the cohabitation of humans and wildlife. The ongoing restorative efforts along Johnson Creek dedicated to continuous riparian habitats for wildlife and the designation of an additional 7 acres of open land in the planning area speak to the environmental attentiveness in the proposed plan, addressing livability on multiple urban levels. Thank you again for the opportunity to ask you to adopt this plan, and I'm really looking forward to see this happening.
Thank you so much, Anna. Next person, please.
Scott Goodman.
Welcome, Scott.
Hello, my name is Scott Goodman. Good afternoon, council members. I'm a resident of the Brentwood-Darlington neighborhood and have been involved with this project process in several different capacities. I graduated in 2022 from Portland State University's Masters of Urban and Regional Planning program, Let's Go Vikings, where I interned for the project and conducted door-to-door surveying in English and Spanish at low-income and manufactured home parks in the project areas, pounding pavement and talking with people, hearing what they love about the neighborhood and what needs improvement. There's a lot of both. After my internship, I was hired by the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability as a Community Service Aide 2 to continue working on the project, including organizing a Pedalpalooza bike ride around the project area. And as I graduated from PSU and was hired at Echo Northwest, where I proudly work now, I was asked to join the project advisory committee. I have lived and breathed this project for years. And its relevance and gravitas gained new weight for me 10.5 months ago when I became a new father of my baby boy, Arlo Rene. And I really started to think about this neighborhood, not just as a place for me to live, but as a place to raise my child. What will this area be like in 10, 20, 50 years? I want to say I am so incredibly in favor of this plan and appreciate all of the hard work that city staff and community members put in. I appreciate it now more than ever, knowing it's shaping a neighborhood to accommodate more of our neighborhoods and plan for some more of the density that is needed all over the city. One particular thing I want to emphasize about this project is, yes, it's poised to accomplish urban goals of upzoning, but it's also poised to preserve what is so unique about our neighborhood, some of our gravel roads. Maybe you've seen some of those roadway unimproved signs scattered throughout. While we do need to make strategic investments to improve the roads that are meant for consistent car use, 52nd, Flavel, et cetera, some of these other roads that are a little more bumpy and not so friendly for cars have actually created the infrastructure that is friendly to pedestrians. Just yesterday, I met up with neighbors for a beer and a snack because one of them was having a hard time with their depression. They reached out to neighbors for some support. We played bocce ball in the street, on the gravel street, that has become a gathering space for us. We've done work helping neighbors improve their unimproved rights-of-way, removing invasive blackberry or tree of heaven, and planting pollinators and beneficials. And this type of community, human-oriented activity, has brought us together. We are going on 5 consecutive years of a block party on our unimproved road at 50th and Duke. As a new parent, I dream of my son growing up in a vibrant, thriving neighborhood that offers opportunities for growth, learning, and connection. The Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan's focus on urbanization and strategic development can help create a dynamic environment where children like my son can flourish. Improved infrastructure, new businesses, and community spaces will provide a wealth of experiences and resources that will enrich his life and the lives of all our neighbors' children. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations on the new baby. That's exciting. And does that wrap up testimony?
We have 2 more people signed up.
Okay.
Next is Machu Williams.
Welcome, Machu.
Presiding Officer Maps, Commissioners Rubio, Gonzalez, and Ryan, thank you for this opportunity. For the record, my name is Machu Williams. I am a resident of the area plan and the board chair for the Mount Scott or LIDA Neighborhood Association. I'm here today to express support for the Lower Southeast Rising Area Plan, which addresses years and even decades of advocacy for Brentwood, Darlington, and the surrounding area. So the area plan represents the strategic decisions to increase housing capacity through thoughtful zoning changes and land use designations. And it supports our hopes and dreams to create a walkable neighborhood where a majority of our daily needs can be easily met. So we love our neighborhood and yearn for more housing and commercial options than currently exist today. We firmly believe that both current and future neighbors should have the opportunity to live, work, and play here if they wish to. That's not possible if we do not increase the housing capacity in the area. In fact, when the project team presented to our association, we asked them, can you go bigger? Can you increase the zoning further on corridors? Can you allow options elsewhere within the neighborhood for increased housing capacity? Why not allow greater housing density options adjacent to the corridors too and not just on them? If anything, we wish the plan would go further. This is reflecting our advocacy for expansion of the Lentz urban renewal area down 72nd Avenue, increased opportunities for small businesses in the area, and adding bike lanes on 72nd Avenue. So our neighborhood serves the growth that ensures everyone can find a place to call home and increase connectivity options for all its people. So the neighborhood greenways we look forward to so that families, children, and everyone can travel safely to nearby schools, businesses, and open spaces and natural areas. So as a parent, I'm eagerly anticipate safer routes for my daughter as she begins preschool this fall. Our advocacy reflects our commitment to these safer, accessible neighborhoods for future generations, and the proposed changes are long overdue. So I would encourage you to adopt the Lower Southeast Area Plan and prioritize securing funds to realize it, and support expansion of the East Portland TIFs to include 72nd Avenue from Foster down to the new neighborhood center at Flavel so that local businesses can flourish and realize the plan's full potential. Thank you for your time and consideration today.
Thank you.
Next is B Lake.
Hi, B. I think B's online.
Hey there. Yeah, can you hear me?
You're a little bit soft. We'll see if we can dial you up in here.
How's that? Is
That's
that all right?
great.
Okay. I hear the overwhelming enthusiasm for this plan, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I have some concerns. So as a resident of the affected area designated for rezoning in Lower Southeast Rising, I'm asking the City Council to vote against the plan as it currently stands, specifically because of some of those areas that the last person spoke to, where the rezoning is expanded beyond just the corridors and into adjacent neighborhoods. There's not that many of them, but they will have a big impact on the people who currently live here. The new zoning from Flavel to Lambert and 72nd to 82nd only disallows single-family housing, meaning any new construction must be multi-unit housing of the type that's only economically feasible to build for wealthy development firms. Multi-unit housing is already allowed under existing zoning and exists in our neighborhood. Also, the plan identifies the area as currently disproportionately racially and ethnically diverse and working class compared to Portland as a whole, and identifies a higher proportion of homeownership by residents than in the city at large. But unfortunately, it goes on to propose development strategies which sound dangerously similar to those that have resulted in runaway gentrification and displacement of working class and racially diverse homeowners when they were implemented elsewhere in the city, including along, specifically, I'm thinking of North Mississippi. The zoning looks very similar there. The plan acknowledges the risk of displacement for current residents, but the only solution I was able to identify when reading it over is job training and the idea that replacing owner-occupied affordable housing with rental units owned by absentee landlords and property management companies is somehow serving the cause of housing equity. We're 2 blocks north of the county line. Our neighborhood represents one of the last affordable neighborhoods at the margins of the city. I work as a school teacher in the Portland Public School District. I hold a master's degree in teaching. I live with my partner, who also works in education. Our immediate neighbors include machinists, mechanics, electricians, carpentry contractors, and cabinetry workers. And I'm curious what sort of job training the city proposes would protect our family and our neighbors from displacement. We purchased our house where we did because ours was one of the last neighborhoods in Portland where we could afford to do so. Much of the housing stock in our neighborhood is old and has been owned by poor and working class people for its duration. That means that houses are often in need of significant expensive fixes, and the new zoning would provide a strong lever in the interest of forcing residents to finally give up on the dream of owning a home in Portland city limits, sell their properties to wealthy developers, and allow those historic houses to be demolished and replaced with expensive condos and apartment complexes. Based on the description of budgeting shortfalls described for transportation improvements and the admission that there are no existing measures to guarantee affordable housing in the plan as it stands, I'm left with the impression that the rezoning will go through, the land grab will begin immediately, and the infrastructure which would actually benefit the community will be largely delayed until it only benefits whoever will be able to afford to live here in a decade, the people who live in condos and overpriced apartments where our neighborhood used to be. So I would urge you to consider that and ensure that continued affordable housing in this neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, B. Does that complete public testimony?
It does. That completes testimony.
Well, thank you so much, colleagues. Now, I believe we begin the part of our conversation today where we have an opportunity to ask questions. Colleagues, do you have any questions for staff? Maybe I can kick us off. We just heard some fairly cogent, well, first let me say, this looks like truly a model plan. It's interdisciplinary. The community outreach that you did was also a model for, I think, every project we do in the public space. However, we also just wrapped up on some very cogent testimony from B. Lake, who seems to be concerned about displacement. How should council weigh B's concerns?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Patricia Diefenhofer again for the record. I'll just start us off and then maybe Bill can also jump in. I mean, I think you heard extensively about the amount, the lengths to which we went in looking at the area and the changes that were made, and we avoided all the naturally occurring affordable, the locations where there are the manufactured mobile home parks. These were all attempts to make sure that the plan itself doesn't add any development pressures to the area. And the changes are in very strategic locations where there's already kind of mixed fabric, or taking advantage of those larger corridors where there is transit and where you have a mix of uses. And the goal is to have additionally a greater mix of uses in the future to provide those commercial services. So the balance, on balance, I think the plan addresses those issues and really doesn't present our economic analysis related to the plan also demonstrated, as Bill talked about, that it does not really increase the pressures for development in the area and only creates more opportunity if and when development occurs to include kind of single-family cluster development types and add to the housing stock in such a way that it would be both townhomes and small apartments, so you'd have the opportunity for both home ownership and rentals. And so I'll stop there and see if Bill has anything else he'd like to add.
Great.
Commissioners, just add a little bit more. The area of rezones the last person was referring to is an area where the existing zoning is R2.5, which is basically a townhouse type zone, and it's to that small scale RM1 zone. Our economic analysis was showing that probably the most common kind of development that's going to happen in that part of town in either zone are townhouse type development. But the main difference is with the RM1 zone, you can do a small apartment development as well, and which typically are significantly less expensive than townhouse type development, which in this area is less expensive than a new single family house, but still about $540,000 or so. So the rezone to RM1, the analysis is showing it's not going to spur a land rush for the property because the townhouses already allowed in that current zone are already attractive to builders. And the zone is too small scale to really support your large scale condominium type development. This is a 2 to 3 story covering half the lot type situation. So I think we're very sensitive to the fact that there is a lot of moderate income ownership housing in the area, and that it's reflected in the plan's approach about very strategic zone changes, keeping the vast amount of the area in single dwelling zoning, only changing the zoning in areas very close to the corridors and commercial services.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that response, and I hope that Beast stood on the line to hear that. I have one other thing. It's not really a question. It's a statement. I wanted to hearken back to Pam's invited testimony. One of the things that Pam called for were performance metrics for the projects that get built and funded through this. Pam, I couldn't agree with you more, and I can, in the PBOT space, I will just say we will make that so. Colleagues, before we close out this item, any other questions? If not, or any other questions? Commissioner Ryan? Okay, everyone's good. Delighted that the quality of the testimony and the work being done here and the presentation is just of the utmost. I want to thank you for that. The plan is to vote on the ordinance to adopt the lower Southeast Rising Area Plan at our May 2nd council meeting. Before we close out, Commissioner Rubio, do you have any closing remarks you want to share?
I'll just briefly thank you for the presentation. It was excellently done. And I also want to really appreciate the community for showing up for this plan. It's really evident that the quality of thoughtful conversation and work that you underwent for all these years, and also the concerns that were raised. It's very good to hear, and it gives us important dimension to think about moving forward. So, you are shaping this plan. This is in your community. So we're really looking forward to your continued engagement and feedback as we go forward. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. And if I were to add anything, I both appreciate the presentation. I appreciate the underlying work. I appreciate the work plan. This work and this conversation today really gets at how you go about living in a community. Really exciting stuff. I am glad to see this come back to council on May 2nd at 2 p.m. for a final vote. The oral and written testimony is now closed. Thank
Lauren's
you.
trying to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed.
That was it. I just needed to say that, but I have a kid sick at home, and I wanted to make sure.
Oh, gosh. Thank you so much. Sorry to.
Apologize. Thank you.
You got a good helper there. Oh, and Commissioner Gonzalez, did you have something?
I just want to thank staff for the comprehensive report. Love to see the work across the bureaus as a team, the engagement from the community. I walk and cycle in your neighborhood often. We're a neighborhood. So just thanks so much for your engagement here, and looking forward to what this brings for the next generation in the neighborhood.
Great. Thank you so much. And colleagues,
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks.
I also want to thank the staff for the presentation, and I was really impressed with the community testimony. I just want to hear how you would address the last person who spoke. I thought they brought up some concerns that are valid. I think that when you expand the commercial corridor, gentrification does naturally occur. And so there was just fascinating testimony leading up to how there's this neglect with what we've annexed. I think it was one of the testimony that was so compelling was when it was meant by you, Pam Hodge. All we got really was sewers when it came to annexation, and it's been years. But then we also are lifting the fact that it's one of the few areas in town where we have affordable housing. So when we expand, so you can have a lovely restaurant and place to get coffee within walking distance, being a longtime North Portland resident, we've seen what that does. So how do you answer those questions? I just want to hear it from you when you're out in the community and they ask you such questions.
Yeah. Patricia Diefendorf for the record. I mean, I think it's, those are real concerns. The balanced approach that the plan tries to take is an attempt to ameliorate those concerns. Some of the community stabilization strategies that are proposed that maybe can be looked at down the line are other funding, ways to bring other funding opportunities to the area, or to bring greater, workforce development kinds of opportunities just throughout the city overall. I mean, I think to the extent that people have well-paying jobs that allows them to be able to afford housing in the city, and jobs that have a living wage, that are able to be matched with the cost of housing, while we're also trying to make sure that housing is more affordable by generating more housing units. So it's really all of those things that have to kind of work together to try to balance those effects, if you will. And also newer construction, for example, on these commercial corridors, with new construction comes the building of some of the infrastructure, right? The streets get improved and widened. And so those new developments can help bring the infrastructure and resources to the community as well.
Yeah, and as the Arrow Heights Park has allowed me to go there a couple times in the last 6 months, and it's such a beautiful area to walk around in, and it's so geographically stunning. And so I think sometimes when you're in those wilder, geographically stunning parts of the city that are outside, it's that blend of how do you bring in the amenities and yet keep the organic, rich tapestry, if you will, of the plan. I thought the PBOT conversation with TriMet seems like it could be an early win, because it is geographically challenging when it comes to mass transportation right now. So is there momentum for that right now with
Yeah, so those
TriMet?
changes are happening. They're folded into their regular sort of service update. They've been having some staffing issues getting folks actually behind the wheel of the buses, and so that can affect how soon those can roll out, but it's happening.
Well, that looks like one of the earlier wins. It's possible.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's what it sounded like. Just wanted to confirm that. Thanks.
I just might add one thing. And one thing we heard from affordable housing providers is that if we want to have housing providers for affordable housing being able to do more in this area, having multi-dwelling zoning is something that really helps what they're doing. And another thing we heard was that there's some concern about putting all our allowances for multifamily on the busy corridors like 82nd, and that there should be a place for modest income people to live off of those corridors. So this kind of provides some opportunity for that, like between 82nd and 72nd. But it does it in a way where we're looking at the zones that are least likely to destabilize the community. That's why in those areas off the corridors, we stuck to that smallest scale multi-dwelling zone, a zone which analysis shows is not going to be tipping things into community destabilization anymore. And the community has said that they see zoning as an important first step. You can't even start a business if you don't have the zoning to allow you to. And there's no opportunity for modest income multi-unit housing if we don't have zoning to support it. But they really would like to see action down the road, such as again, ideas for tax increment financing district in the 82nd area that could provide more tools for community-based economic development or affordable housing. But yeah, I think zoning was not the be-all and end-all as people saw it, but a first step. And the zoning allows people to continue their house. If you're a mechanic in a house, you can keep it there. And you can add an ADU. You can mostly do what you're doing now, just that if you wanted to do more, you could.
And the elementary school's at Whitman? Which,
Yes, Whitman, and then Favell Park is right next to it.
yeah, and we've had some really, we're having declining enrollment, and I think that's one of the schools that's getting very small. So anything we can do to make this neighborhood that attracts more families and sustains them is a big deal right now. So I would say that that's got to be one of our number one focused areas. Because as Portland keeps losing families, that's not a good day. So, thanks. That's all. And oh, last thing, the TIF conversation, was that just preliminary? That came out of, it came out of a few people's mouths.
That came out as an idea, but that is an entirely separate process with
Okay.
that exploration of East Portland TIF ideas.
I thought so, but Commissioner Rubio just had to like ask the question because I heard it several times, and they're all smiling back there. Okay. More on that later. Yeah. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. That was an excellent conversation. Our next item is a time certain at 3:30. We're not quite at that hour yet. So why don't we take a 4-minute break and we will reconvene at 3:30.
Great.
Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Next item, which I believe is 341.
Authorize intergovernmental agreements for the Portland Clean Energy Fund Climate Investment Plan Strategic Program 16, climate-friendly public schools not to exceed $50,075,000 over 5 years.
Well, thank you very much. From the size of the audience that we have this afternoon, I can tell this is an exciting item, which comes out of Commissioner Rubio's shop. Commissioner Rubio, I will hand the floor over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Mapps, or Council President Mapps. Colleagues, in November of 2018, more than 65% of Portlanders voted in favor of the Portland Clean Energy Community Benefits Initiative. The direction from our community was clear. Establish a funding source specifically dedicated to ensuring our consistent climate action efforts also support social, economic, and environmental benefits for all Portlanders, particularly those who have historically been left behind. Since then, PSEF has implemented multiple rounds of community responsive grants, launched the Cooling Portland program, and most recently began implementing the Climate Investment Plan, and this council unanimously adopted this in September of 2023. This ordinance before us today is just one of the many actions that this body will take as a part of implementing the Climate Investment Plan. And I'm excited that our first action item from the plan focuses on our public schools. Our schools are critical places where our youth learn, grow, make lasting relationships, and become contributing members of our community. So it's critical to ensure that our schools are healthy places for our kids to learn, free of mold, exposure to extreme heat, wildfire smoke, and so many more issues created or exacerbated by the climate crisis. And with the schools controlling such significant assets across our community, our investment presents a wonderful opportunity to make impactful emissions reductions, meaningfully reduce utility costs, and serve those who will inherit this place after us. I look forward to hearing from all our school partners here with us today. So with that, I would like to introduce Director Sam Barrasso of the Portland Clean Energy Fund. And team, wherever you like.
Okay, it looks like, okay, I can hear myself. All right, Commissioner Mapps, Commissioner Rubio, Commissioner Ryan, thank you for having us here this afternoon. So as the Commissioner just stated, we're here today asking for you to ultimately approve, this is gonna be the first reading, but to approve this ordinance to allow us to execute 7 intergovernmental agreements to implement Strategic Program 16 from the Climate Friendly Schools program. As a reminder, this strategic program was part of the Climate Investment Plan, which was approved in September of 2023. Okay. Next, can we cue up the slides? All right, next slide. Okay, just an overview of what we'll walk through today. We'll walk through just a quick reminder of the climate investment plan, the development process, the adoption, the funding areas within the plan, as well as how we will be implementing this. And this is important because we're here before you today, but you're going to see us here again next month, and again the following month, and again the following month after that as we roll out and begin implementing each of the stages of the plan that was adopted last fall. Then we'll pivot over, and I'll turn it over to my colleague, Wendy Kelfkin, to talk about the climate-friendly public schools program, the need and the opportunity, a description of the structure, the decision-making, eligible funding areas, examples of projects so you all can picture what that looks like and some of the outcomes and goals before we turn it over to our 5 invited speakers. Next slide. So I want to just start with some key takeaways we hope you walk away from this. One is that PCEF is diligently executing the council-approved climate investment plan, continuously adapting to stakeholder feedback, and you're going to hear some of that as we showcase these programs. PCEF continues to be a trailblazer for innovation and climate justice, and we continue to measure and track the potential and outcomes of our investments. And in particular, the Climate-Friendly Public Schools program draws on the collaborative energy between the city and the public school system to provide opportunities for our youth and our communities. Okay, next slide. All right, so just a quick reminder of the climate investment plan. Next slide. So this plan was developed through a range of feedback over the course of 9 months before we brought it to this council. Again, that involved a range of input and feedback from technical experts along the way, community input, PCEF committee briefings that allowed the public to chime in as we developed it through that time period, ultimately culminating in approval at City Council last September. Since its approval, we've begun implementing all facets of that plan, and as part of that, you're going to see several actions that I noted coming before you in the coming months. Next slide. Now, this is just a quick reminder that the scale of investment need is substantial. This study and these numbers were produced from a study that was commissioned by Eco Northwest as well as CADEO, commissioned by the program, and it just shows of the relevant funding areas that PCEF can invest in, the total need to get to our climate goals is $50 billion, and that's a small. That doesn't speak to the broader infrastructure that our utilities are responsible for and so much more. When we narrow that down and focus on our priority populations, the need is in the realm of $18 billion. And then when you look at the climate investment plan, which is investing about $150 million per year, we've got about $750. And so just to get to our priority populations, we're talking about 120 years. Okay, next slide. Now, this overview, again, is a reminder from the plan. It shows of the funding areas within the climate investment plan, these are the relative allocation. So these are the eligible funding areas. Within this program, we're discussing with you all before today around climate-friendly schools. It touches on 3 of these categories: renewable energy and energy efficiency, transportation decarbonization, as well as green infrastructure. Those are the 3 categories we expect our schools to be making investments in as part of their program. Next slide. And so I'm going to just take a moment on this slide. The plan set the framework for how we were going to invest the resources over 5 years. That is critical for our ability to do our work with stakeholders, design the programs, and making sure that we are aligned with our partners at the utilities, at the Energy Trust of Oregon, that we're aligned with our state partners at the Department of Energy as we design our programs so that we're leveraging each other's resources effectively. Now, as part of implementing that plan, we're going to come before you all for a series of requests that are just a course of that implementation. Some of those are going to include requests to approve grants, and you'll see that coming before you all later this summer for our community responsive grants. Again, that's part of the plan. Some of these are going to be requests for proposals. So again, we're going to be going out to bring in and work with our procurement department to solicit administrators and other program delivery partners as part of several of our programs. The one coming next month is focused on strategic program number 3. This is clean energy in single-family homes. But then following that, you're going to get a RFP request so that we can solicit that focused on capacity building. And then following that afterwards, you're going to get a request so that we can solicit administrators for our e-bike program later this summer. And then another avenue in which we administer the program is going to be our intergovernmental agreements as well as our interagency agreements. Now, examples of interagency agreements are two of those that we've got actively working on and running as Strategic Program 8, focused on equitable tree canopy. That's an interagency agreement with our Urban Forestry Division within Parks and Recreation, as well as Strategic Program 1. This is an interagency agreement focused on regulated multifamily affordable housing with our Housing Bureau. And then we're actively working on those with our Bureau of Transportation as well, focused on some of the programming within the Climate Investment Plan. And then our intergovernmental agreements, and what we are here before you all today is for just one of those, Strategic Program 16, focused on climate-friendly public schools. Okay, next slide. Now, this is just a visual diagram of what I've just already walked you all through, but it gives you a little sense of the cadence that we expect to come before you all as part of, again, rolling out the Climate Investment Plan and making those and implementing that program. So this is just that, and I want to make sure you have that in that visual way before you all. All right, next slide. And so with that, I'm going to turn things over to my colleague, Wendy Kelfgen, who is our commercial and multifamily buildings lead, to share with you all the details of the program and the work we've done in collaboration with our school districts.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, commissioners. As Sam said, my name is Wendy Kelfgen. I am the lead on commercial and multifamily work for PSEF, and I want to share a few more details about what we specifically are proposing for the schools. Next slide, please. So we're going to allocate funding to each school district through an award for physical improvements and an annual allocation for student-led initiatives. This table was included in the Climate Investment Plan approved by Council in September 2023. For physical improvements, each school district will propose the climate projects that will best serve their districts. Projects will be reviewed and approved by PSEF staff to ensure funding is going toward eligible expenses that reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve resiliency. Student allocations will be advanced one time per year to each district for use in each middle and high school within the city of Portland. School districts will submit project and workforce and contractor reporting. Metrics collected on projects will vary by project type and may include number of buildings improved, square feet improved, addition of cooling, kilowatt hours generated, kilowatts installed, kilowatt hours of storage, dollars saved on utility bills, number of trees planted, you get the idea. Next slide, please. Need and opportunity. We have 7 school districts. We have over 100 K through 12 public schools, and we have 70,000 or more students. So what is the need? School buildings comprise millions of square feet of conditioned space in older, inefficient buildings with deferred maintenance. The opportunity with PSEF funding is that we can layer PSEF funding onto major improvements and maintenance funding to create higher efficiency, lower carbon schools, and resilient buildings. The need. School buses in Portland are contracted or owned by the district and run primarily on diesel or propane with only a handful of electric vehicles. The opportunity. We can electrify school buses to reduce carbon emissions, improve air quality, and reduce operating and maintenance costs. The need. Schoolyards are spaces used by both youth during the school day and the surrounding community throughout the year. And the opportunity there is that we can add green infrastructure to increase urban canopy, shade, and water management. Next slide. Some project examples. Many schools have outdated and inefficient heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. We can add funding to the funding that is already going into these systems to make them highly energy efficient and reduce the greenhouse gas emissions even further. Next slide. 2020 PPS school improvement bond included $75 million to replace or repair highest priority mechanical systems. That's just about enough to address needs in 15 schools. Next slide. High efficiency HVAC reduces greenhouse gases and building operating costs and improves comfort and resiliency, including often adding cooling and opportunities for improved air filtration. Children, particularly younger children, are more vulnerable to poor indoor air quality, which is exacerbated by wildfire smoke and can be mitigated with improved ventilation combined with filtration. They are also impacted by exposure to diesel emissions, which can be mitigated by electrifying school buses. Next slide. Other energy projects. These could include lighting retrofits, building envelope measures, solar installation, and converting to high-efficiency electric kitchen appliances. Next slide. Non-energy projects. These could include electrification of school buses and greening of schoolyards. Next slide. Outcomes. Schools serving PSEF priority populations reduce greenhouse gas emissions and are more climate resilient. Middle and high school students are engaged in leading climate action. The goals, we are looking for 16,000 to 24,000 metric tons of lifetime CO2 emissions reduced. And student-led climate initiatives are active in all middle and high schools in Portland. And with that, I will hand it back to Sam.
Okay, so with that, we wanted to take a moment to pause for questions and discussion before we turn over and invite our invited speakers in two different groups.
Sam, tell me a little bit about your panel. I have some questions, but I think they might be for the school districts.
Then maybe we might just jump there. Our panel is going to be, we're gonna bring in our superintendents, and we'll start first with our superintendent, Frank Carapello from the Reynolds School District, as well as Danny Cage, board member for the Multnomah Education Service District. And that's our first panel. And our second group will be the good folks from Portland Public Schools. I'll hold off on sharing names there, as well as Park Rose School District. So they may be able to answer your questions. So if we want to go there, start with them, we're happy to do that and follow up with questions afterwards.
Yep. Why don't we do that? Let's bring up our invited guests.
So we'll start with just because we've organized them here. Our first two folks, Frank and Danny.
Welcome, Frank. Welcome, Danny.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Danny Cage, a school board member for the Multnomah Education Service District. The Multnomah Education Service District supports districts across Multnomah County through various services. As part of our service array, we provide a handful of brick and mortar schools, and we specialize programming or in classrooms. We support some of our region's most historically underserved students. 3 of these schools are located within the Portland school boundary. At Knott Creek Elementary, age students with significant behavioral needs and lower cognitive abilities. Currently, enrollment of this school is 60% students of color and 93% special education. Wheatley School, for example, also we provide functional living skill programs with students with disabilities up to age 21. 67% of students of color and 100% qualify for special education. Helensview, which is one of our more robust services, is an alternative school serving students aged 11 through 21 whose needs have not been met by traditional K-12 system. 77% of students at Helensview are BIPOC, and 39 qualify for special education services. MESD's 3 PSEF eligible buildings are leased from Park Rose School District, were built from 1951 and through 1958, so they're a little old. A preliminary building systems audit from 2021 shows that much of our equipment is beyond its current life expectancy, and that includes things like HVAC systems, lighting replacements, and upgrades and retrofits are all needed. ESDs, or education service districts, don't have bonding authority in the same way typical school districts do. So we're historically very limited to the funding that we're able to generate. And this leads to our facilities having a triaging of needs continuously. At Helensview, for example, some staff weigh in on whether the heating system or the leaking roofs should take priority. It does not go unnoticed by our students. We have seen, who have seen system after system failed them, and it currently shows up in their buildings as well. We are very excited for the ability to offer them opportunities to decide how a portion of PSEF dollars will be able to be spent in their schools. These PSEF dollars allow allow us to make much needed investments and to prioritize carbon reduction projects in ways that we have not seen and would not be able to do otherwise. MESD will be conducting a more comprehensive energy-specific audit to assist in prioritizing PISA funds through physical infrastructure funding. While we don't have specific data yet, it is clear that there are abundant of opportunity projects that will greatly increase energy efficiency, reduce energy cost, and will create a better learning environment for our students. We thank the city for the allocation made through the PSEF project and climate plan, and we are greatly appreciated in continuing our partnership for this work.
Thank you, Danny.
Good afternoon. I'm Frank Carapello, Superintendent for the Reynolds School District. Reynolds serves just about 9,500 students in East Portland through the Troutdale area. While only 3 of our 19 schools are eligible for this funding, it will have a far-reaching impact. Those 3 schools are Alder, Glenfair, and Margaret Scott. I know the commissioners are familiar with those. Alder, right now, the PBOT team is working at Southeast 174th and Stark on our sidewalk project. And it's going real well, so thank you for that. All 3 of these buildings are over 50 years old and have a long list of deferred maintenance. Many of those needs will be addressed through these funds and will improve climate resilience, energy efficiency, and year-round comfort and usability as schools. 2 summers ago, we had to cancel summer programs because of temperature and smoke. So not only do we sometimes now have to close schools because of snow in the summer, we also have to watch the weather and smoke to see if we can run our summer programs, since many of our older schools are not air conditioned. Some of the projects that we are looking at to do with these particular funds: lighting retrofits from fluorescents to LEDs, building envelope measure improvements to reduce air condition loss, replacing HVAC systems to include air conditioning and enable higher efficiency and improved air filtration, new roofing with increased R values and solar reflectivity, replacement of generation systems to units with higher efficiency and lower emissions. Additionally, we are really excited about receiving the funds for the student-led environmental justice initiatives. We're planning to use those funds with our students at H.B. Lee Middle School in partnership with H.B. Lee's extensive roster of community partner organizations to identify projects that center on our communities. So I appreciate the city's commitment to environment and our schools, and Reynolds School District stands ready to move forward in this partnership and encourage approval of the IGA. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, sure. Commissioner Ryan.
Lieutenant Carpello. Do you have a current bond?
No, we do not in Reynolds. Last bond was 2015.
It's been that long? Okay, thank you. That's helpful to have that context. And then it was helpful for you, Danny, to let us know that that there's no opportunity for MESD to have a bond. Thanks.
Yeah, before you go, Danny, I want to thank you so much for testifying today. You did great. And Frank, let me ask you, what does the process look like to figuring out exactly how you go about allocating these dollars? Do you know yet?
Sure, yeah. So we just completed a long-term facilities plan evaluation of our schools. So that will guide our work. That was done in 2022. These 3 schools particularly, we will look for projects that will increase the usability of the buildings for our students and staff. There's so much deferred maintenance that's needed in these schools that we, under our normal school district budgets, are not able to get to.
Sure.
That will greatly improve functionality as well as comfort levels.
Right. And Danny, I might ask you the same question. I don't know if you're in the weeds enough to know. Is there a sense of how our ESD is going to go about picking specific projects?
From what I understand from what staff have said is that we're going to be prioritizing our energy efficient audit before we make any investments in anything, just so we know what needs to be prioritized the most. As well as we are also in the process of currently hiring person who does more of our facilities and maintenance, and they won't be hired until the beginning of the summer time. I can't remember which month, but they will be also leading this work for the agency.
All right, great to hear. Thank you so much.
One more, Superintendent.
Yes.
Your enrollment is 9,500, you said?
Just about 9,500.
It's gone down, huh?
Yes, it has.
It's like 11,000 not too long ago.
Yes, it's been decreasing, as is most of our, I believe, our districts in the metro area have.
That's so tough on the budget. And what's the enrollment with the schools at MESD?
I don't have the current number on that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's bring up our next panel.
Okay, Commissioner. Our next speakers are Vice Chair Herman Green from the Portland Public Schools Board, Chief Operating Officer Dan Jung from the Portland Public Schools, and then Superintendent Michael Lopez Serrao from the Park Rose School District.
Great. Welcome. I'll turn the floor over to you. Whoever wants to start first can go.
Is that me?
I think so.
All right, this is fantastic. It's awesome to be on this side of the table. I was just telling Dan that I want one of your guys' fancy clocks that count down and gives a gentle ding. That would be fantastic. But in
Try to
case,
set you up. Let us know when your birthday is. We'll
let's
send
make
something
it happen.
over.
I digress. I first want to just say thank you to Danny. Danny Cage, he's one of our alumni, and we're extremely proud that he's now one of the directors on the MESD, so that's super exciting about that. Now, with that being said, my name is Herman Green. I am the vice chair of Portland Public Schools School Board. I'm a community member, an advocate within Northeast Portland, and I love my city. I'm grateful. I'm extremely excited about this much needed investment that we're going to be able to get and use within PPS towards our infrastructure. I can't say thank you enough. I'm not going to say that every building needs the same amount of attention, but a lot of our buildings need a lot of attention, some more than others. And this investment, this $16.9 million is actually going to be extremely critical in helping us get to, we have a goal of being net zero by 2040. And we're striving to get there. We believe that it's possible. We're going to do everything that we possibly can to help us get there. And $16.9 million is going to help us to get some of those things done. Now, I'm not going to, try to persuade you to not give me more. So if you decided, later today, you know what, 16.9 was not enough for Portland Public Schools, we want to go ahead and give them $25.9 million. I just came up with that number, just random. But you know what? I wouldn't be mad at you. And so, if the Lord leads you, if that's on your heart, then you feel free to go ahead and make that added adjustment. But we're extremely excited for what we're getting. We're also excited about being able to take $3 million of that and be able to make it work for our kids, so that both the middle school kids and the high school kids will actually be able to do projects that are intentionally moving towards climate reduction, because I believe we all know the kids are the future, and by allowing them to create projects, different things that they believe are going to help get us where we need to be, I believe it's a snapshot into what could be, because they're it, and they understand AI, and I don't, and so they're going to figure out how to use it to make the world a better place, I pray. But so again, I just want to say, thank you, thank you from Portland Public Schools, from North Portland, from Northeast Portland, from Southeast Portland, from all of our kids. We appreciate this. We need it. And the only thing that we ask is if the Lord puts it on your heart to give us more, don't turn it away. Hear him.
Thank you. It's a hard act to follow.
It is. I was hoping to go first. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dan Young. I'm Chief Operating Officer for Portland Public Schools. And I'm going to say that probably my comments are going to sound very familiar to the previous presenters. But first, I'd like to begin by thanking the voters who approved this measure, as well as the councilors, council members, and PSEF for creating the Climate Investment Plan and the strategic allocation for school districts in Portland. As you know, our region is experiencing more and more extreme weather events, which have impacted our schools, such as extreme heat, wildfire smoke, and recently ice storms. PSEF investments will help mitigate these impacts, and we are very excited to partner with you and anxious to get started. PPS schools are on average about 80 years old, and many have not received significant upgrades since they opened decades ago. Consequently, weather impacts and temperature issues are some of our most common and pressing physical facility issues. But I'm happy to note that almost half of our schools qualify for PCEF funds. And by investing in PPS facilities and infrastructure, PCEF will cause material reductions in our greenhouse gas emissions and significantly improve the conditions in our schools. Our plan is to prioritize projects that have high return on investment on emissions, emission reductions, while also supporting thermal comfort. Kind of a third to answer, I think, a question that might be coming is one of the third criteria we're looking at is PPS also has significant deferred maintenance. So projects that reduce emissions, increase thermal comfort, and address deferred maintenance are, kind of what we're looking for that check a lot of our needs and our boxes. Some sample projects that we're currently scoping will sound familiar. HVAC system upgrades or full replacements, building envelope upgrades such as window system replacements, LED light retrofits, water heater electrification, electric vehicles, and more. A portion of the funding will also go towards greening our schoolyards, particularly in high heat zones with high percentage of asphalt. By depaving and planting trees and other green infrastructure, we will both decrease temperatures and improve the learning environment for our children. We look forward to this partnership between the city and PPS, and we are thrilled to have this funding opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Is your mic on? Let's see.
I don't know.
Somebody's in the back room. They'll automatically turn it on if he just keeps talking. That's what I always say.
Testing. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you sound great.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Michael Lopes-Sahau. I'm proud to serve as a superintendent of the Park Rose School District. I don't want to repeat too many of the things that my colleagues have shared because we share similarities in that deferred maintenance is a significant issue in our public schools across the city. I do want to encourage you to consider the lasting impacts of clean energy funds in our community and want to urge you to consider investing in the part of our city that desperately needs an infrastructure that better provides for those who are most vulnerable in our community, and that's our youth. Our small but mighty district represents many who have been historically underserved regarding the needed resources to thrive in our community. Our community is more than 70% BIPOC and continues to see the disparate and lasting impacts of climate change. I do want to remind us specifically because I represent an underrepresented community that climate change is widely considered our greatest global threat. And as we know it, the impacts are not created equally. Communities of color, indigenous peoples, and low-income families and children are more vulnerable to the changing climate conditions and have the least resources to protect themselves against and recover from the extreme weather events and climate conditions. The clean energy investment in our community will have a direct effect of mitigating already staggering climate issues in Park Rose. Many of us have seen the recently published heat study of Portland, and it clearly illustrates, if you look directly at Park Rose, we are bright orange and red. The impacts in East Portland and East Multnomah County are significant compared to other parts of the city. This alone increases our likelihood of heat-related illness and exacerbates the disproportionate health conditions of many of our students with asthma. Our elementary schools currently do not have modern heating, cooling, and ventilation systems to support a healthy learning environment. I want to promote the idea that our focus in Park Rose is creating a learning environment that is at its best healthy and sustainable. Modern HVAC for our youngest students is a basic need. Our school system lacks the funding to upgrade electrical panels, integrate energy-efficient systems to create a high-quality learning environment. I also believe that when our students see the community investing in their lives, they're more compelled to take action and generate new, innovative ideas that can create a more sustainable neighborhood. Our students have a lot of power in this, and I'm really, really appreciative to see the student-led grants. I think we will see a lot of innovation from that. And in addition, clean energy funds are an opportunity to empower our youth to help us reimagine how we invest in their community and help mitigate the rapid climate change we are witnessing. Please consider this investment for our schools. I think we will see a difference in our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And is that the end of invited testimony? It is. Well, I want to thank everyone from the schools for testifying before us today. I know we have some folks in the audience who want to address us too. But before I let you go, I do want to ask if you've thought through how the KID grant portion of this program is going to work. Where are you in your thinking on that?
I could speak to, in Park Rose, we've met with teachers and students and talked about how the money could be distributed between, student groups at the middle school and high school. I do also want to encourage the idea of bringing our youngest youth, our elementary students, to work with middle school and high school students. We are a district of 2,800 kids, so a little smaller. We're able to bring our students together in looking at not only what's going on in our schools, but our communities impacted. So are there ideas that not only can impact the school system, but also impact our community? So I'm really interested in making that happen. So we're really talking about, do we create mini grant opportunities? Because we're also wondering, how do we empower the adults in our community, not only our families, but also our staff, to bring students together and determine what are good ideas, how can we leverage support from our city to bring those ideas to us, to think about the challenges that we face. But I do think we're going to need help thinking of creative ideas for how do you spend $10,000 efficiently and effectively to affect climate change. But just as important, impact the neighborhood so that the change is visible to our youth, because I think that's going to give us traction in moving forward with spending money in the future.
All right, great.
Within PPS, we have over 48,000 students, 81 schools. We have within our schools currently, within our high schools and our middle schools, we currently have classes where they're working on climate change. They're coming up with ideas. They're doing different things. And they're working actively now. This allows us to provide them with different projects that they can be working on, different things that they can look at. When we take away the idea of you can't afford to do that to this is a budget.
Yep.
This is what the parameters where which you're going to be working in. And now I want to see what you can do with it. It is amazing what happens inside of a mind of a young person who's given the opportunity and said, go. And so we work with our kids. We allow the kids to drive the conversation. The 2040, the pushback from a lot came from young people saying, why can't we do 2040? And why can't we do this? And why can't? So a lot of that pushback from our goals that we have set now, the reason that it is because we were listening to the young people. The investment, $3 million and whatever it is that they're going to be getting, it's actually just not enough. It's not enough. There's so much work that needs to be done, and there's so much to do that this realistically is a drop in the bucket. This is a drop in the bucket getting us in the direction that we need to go in, and it's still worth it. You know what I mean? It's like we can't just continue to say we care about it and then walk away from the table and do nothing. At some point, we have to stop talking and actually start doing. And by making this investment so that we can put it in the hands of the young people and say, now dream again. What does that say? In a space where they've been so focused, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this. We set them loose. Same as here. And we're saying, now dream. Dream about what it could look like. Dream about what it could be like. Dream about how you can change it. And I believe that once we set those kids free, what we're going to see is going to pay for itself all over again. So yeah, we've thought about it. And the only thing that we ask is that you give us more.
Well, you're always welcome in this building, so I'm sure this is the beginning of a long conversation and not the end. Well, thank you very much, Commissioner Ryan.
Yeah, just to be fair, I just wanted to hear the same level settings. So currently, we know PPS is in a bond, right?
That is correct.
Towards the end of a bond, and your enrollment's around 48,000 in.
Yes, and it is currently our enrollment numbers are going down, as are the rest of schools all around the country. The enrollment numbers are going down, and you're right. The level of funding that we get is based on enrollment, and so as enrollment goes down, so does the level of funding that we get. And when you're in a system that's already underfunded, we have been, as a school district, been underfunded since, was it Levy 5 was passed and we stopped. So we've been underfunded and have been losing less and less funding every year. And yet our buildings, they're not, they don't care whether or not you got the funding or not. They're getting older. And not that they're that old, but they're getting older. And without the funds to actually put into those buildings, to put into the windows, to put into the AC, to put into the heat, to put into the water filtration systems, to put into these different things to get us where we need to be, because we are trying to make sure that we use every dollar that we get to go towards the kids, and yet we need to keep these buildings alive. So doing things like this help us. We need this. We just need a lot more of it. And I mean, again, just come together and let's figure out how we can get all of our schools funded at the level of the QEM model, the quality education model, that gets us closer to the level of funding that we need so that we don't have to continue to cut programs from here and cut programs from there. And we can actually focus on, we got the money for education and we've got money for building repair and, to help us get there. We just got to figure it out. We got to stop saying that we care about kids and then not put money in kids. You know what I mean? It's like, I care about education, but I ain't gonna give you no money. Come on, stop.
Michael, sorry, Superintendent, what your enrollment is currently?
About 2,800.
And do you have a current bond?
Nope, 2011 was our last bond and primarily built our middle school across from the high school.
Okay. And Parkrose is entirely in the city of Portland. Reynolds
Yes.
is about 1/3 in Portland. Okay, great, thanks.
And actually, Sam, I'm glad you're here. I do want to get to public testimony. One thing which I'm not clear on, but I've heard several times today, why are some schools eligible buildings? Why are some school buildings eligible for funds and some not? I can understand if you're not in Portland, that makes sense. But I get the impression maybe half of the Portland buildings are or not. Well, I could speculate, but I don't actually know the answer.
I'll speak to that. So one, you've called it. The first is just with some of the districts. First is within the city of Portland boundaries is the focus. So I know that impacts, at least Reynolds and I think at least one or two others. The second is that when we started within the climate investment plan, we brought the school districts together, and what we leveraged is the state's formula, the State Department of Energy's formula that they used as part of developing the Student Success Act. So we modified it a little bit to fit this context, since we're not talking about individuals, but oftentimes buildings. And so the allocation was allocated to each of the school districts based on the number of buildings that they had, where they had a student population where over 50% of the student population were on free and reduced lunch. So that's the general equation that formulated the basis for that distribution of allocation across the school districts.
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you very much. Colleagues, any other questions for our panel before we go to public testimony?
It's great to see everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for being
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, everybody.
With that, could we, I believe, colleagues, we have about 8 folks signed up to testify. May we call up our first witness?
Jorge Sanchez Batista,
Welcome, Jorge. Is Jorge in person or online?
in person.
We have Jorge in the house. Okay, why don't we go to the next person? If Jorge shows up, we'll come back.
Candice Avalos,
Hello, do I just go?
Yeah, absolutely. 3 minutes, I think.
Okay, sounds good. Good afternoon, commissioners. I'm Candice Avalos, Executive Director of Verde. We are a community-based organization dedicated to building environmental wealth through organizing, advocacy, and social enterprise. Verde firmly supports PSEF's continued investments in climate action and resilience for our community, like the one made today to Portland Public Schools. This investment will not only lower the carbon emissions from school facilities, it will make our schools safer, healthier, and more effective for teachers, students, and staff who have been dealing with the consequences of this maintenance backlog for years. Instead of struggling in freezing or overheated classrooms, they'll be able to focus on what they're there to do, learning. On top of that, we're excited to see that these building upgrades may create opportunities to provide much-needed shelter, power, and services to our community members in severe weather events. Today, we're seeing an example of PSEF's value as a testament to community ingenuity and as an essential tool for responding to climate challenges as they emerge. In the wake of the 2021 heat wave, PSEF was able to stand up a program to deliver life-saving cooling equipment to vulnerable households before the following summer heated up. PSEF worked with my iPad that's not working. PSEF worked quickly with several community partners, including Verde, to distribute cooling units to over 7,000 vulnerable Portland residents to date. This program has been vital to helping Portlanders stay safe in their homes through increasingly hot summers while reducing emissions and their energy bills. Now we'll be able to say the same and more about our schools. PSEF investments are solving complex problems and producing undeniable results for climate and public health and the dignity of Portland's people. But we're not out of complex climate problems yet, and that means that PSEF has more work to do. There are great present and future needs for PSEF revenues and emissions-reducing projects that deliver economic, social, and environmental benefits to our communities. Our city has experienced countless climate problems, including harsher winter storms and hotter heat waves, and they'll keep coming. We must ensure that the city is not only able to mitigate the worst of the damage, but to invest in solutions that help our communities to thrive in the long term. For the sake of our future, the fund must remain dedicated to Portland's climate resilience and vital projects just like this one. We support PSEF, and we need to keep it intact now and into the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we call up our next testifier, please?
Sharice Bach.
Welcome, Sharice. Oh, I see. Welcome. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. Hello and good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Sharice Bach, and I'm here representing 350 PDX as the climate policy manager. It's good to be with you 2 days in a row to be able to support good things that the city is doing for climate and for the community, so thank you. Thank you for orchestrating this historic intergovernmental agreement between the city's PSEF fund and public schools, the Climate Friendly Public School Project. It's exciting to see the city collaborating with schools and PSEF so that millions of dollars can go toward much needed climate resiliency projects in our district buildings, transportation systems, and schoolyards. Many of our members have kids or grandkids in PPS or the other public schools in the area, or went through these school districts themselves. We know the staff and administrators do their very best, often with very slim budgets, and we honor their hard work and commitment. We also know that many schools in Portland are in need of repairs just to make them safe and healthy on a day-to-day basis, as well as needing upgrades to deal with extreme weather events that are happening more often due to climate change. Our city's children and teachers should not be subject to mold, wildfire smoke, or hot and cold temperatures that make it difficult to focus and learn. Our organization has been a staunch supporter of PSEF since its inception, knocking on thousands of doors to get this on the ballot and pass the ballot measure with a wide margin. So this collaboration with public schools is an excellent use of PSEF that we support, and it's exactly the kind of project for which PSEF was created. Because of the strength of PSEF and the climate investment plan that you approved last year, our community is now going to be able to support our children and teachers through healthy and sustainable buildings, energy efficiency projects, and schools that can withstand some of the harms of climate change. This will help our city's funds go farther so we can afford high-quality education. It's important to me that the funds being allocated are spent in a way that help schools and populations with the most immediate needs first, so I'm glad to see that's happening, and particularly those areas of the school district that have been historically underfunded the most. PSEF exists to respond to complex climate problems like this one, and we must ensure that it continue to do so. All of PSEF's funds and more are needed to be able to tackle the $49 billion worth of investments the city estimates it would cost to address known climate resilience projects. So creative programs like this coming out of the CIP and the upcoming community and government partnership grants will benefit all Portlanders, and we applaud the City Council for working together with the PSEF Committee and public schools to make sure this important influx of funding can help keep our community healthy, strong, equitable, and sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we call up our next testifier?
Noel Studer Spivak.
Welcome, Noel.
Thank you, Commissioners, for this opportunity to speak. My name is Noel Studer Spivak from the Cully neighborhood, and I'm a volunteer organizer with Families for Climate. As a PPS parent, I've witnessed firsthand the disparities and challenges of swimming upstream to retrofit school buildings and grounds. My first child, our neighborhood school, the kindergarten wing, is surrounded by a sea of blacktop. And my first child was on the east side of the building, and so when it's hot out, there's not too much heat on that side. But my second child was in the west side, and so teachers are tacking up Mylar, kids are getting out early, like it's really pretty much impossible to maintain a decent learning environment in there. While school communities with well-resourced families and stable leadership are able to pull off climate retrofits like adding trees and reducing blacktop, Title I schools with principal churn faster than a DQ drive-through usually can't shade their some of you know what I'm talking about. Usually can't shade their play areas and update their classrooms without significant outside support. PSEF's investment is exciting because it will make it possible for district staff and community partners to help lead critical cooling retrofits so that kids at every single school can learn in comfort inside and out. And our dedicated education professionals can do what they do best. Schools are second homes, the magical places where our youngest citizens grow their wings and learn to fly. Kids don't care about funding streams or that schools are administered separately from the city, but they do want and deserve shade, engaging play space, and a reasonable temperature range that supports learning so they can get a great start on a bright future. To me, this partnership illustrates the power of PSEF. To reach across lines and reverse historic inequities rooted in redlining and underinvestment. The $16 million over 5 years may not be enough to retrofit a whole district, but it's a tremendous start. And these schools will serve as resilience hubs for the whole community in times of emergency. Families for Climate applauds PSEF's bold climate justice agenda and challenges leaders to commit to continuing the climate-friendly public schools program, at least until today's kindergartners graduate from college. Images are available with my written testimony. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Noel. Next testifier, please.
Micah Meskel.
Welcome, Micah. 3 minutes.
Council members, my name is Micah Meskel, and I'm with the Bird Alliance of Oregon, formerly known as Portland Audubon, where I lead our urban conservation work. And I'm here representing the organization and our 10,000 local members, many of which were part of the 60,000 Portlanders who signed the petition to get this ballot measure on the ballot in 2018, and part of the 65% of supporters of Portland who passed this. So I am here today because I'm super excited about the rolling out of this first IGA from the CIP strategic initiatives. The climate-friendly public schools is just such a no-brainer, I think, for me, around how we can leverage the significant funds that PSEF is receiving towards climate justice projects that have impact on the communities that need it most, our youth. And this project, or this program and concept, it was lifted up by community, embedded into the CIP, and then supported unanimously by you all, which is great. So congrats. So the climate resiliency projects that this program will lead in the school district around district buildings, transportation systems, and schoolyards really provides a significant climate justice impact to students across the district. We commend council for supporting this climate justice initiative like this and others that really form partnerships to ensure that the benefits of our work reach the city's most vulnerable community members, and in this case, students. I'm especially excited for this program as I've been a participant in a PPS committee along with other community partners, PPS staff, and students, which have been focused on coming up with concepts and ideas for how these funds will be used by students and led by students throughout the district. So it's really exciting to be here today. This is the first of many of the IGAs, as PSEF staff have noted, rolled out over the next couple months. It's a really great way to demonstrate the breadth and diversity of the PSEF strategic initiatives from the existing CIP. It's an exciting portfolio that will be bolstered by future concepts being developed currently as part of the Collaborating for Climate Action RFP that just went out. And I'll end that by touching on how important it is to keep PSEF's mission and funding completely intact so it can continue to be deployed towards these strategic and hugely impactful climate justice projects.
Great. Thank you, Micah. Great testimony. Next person, please.
Lynn Doan
Welcome, Lynn.
is online.
Oh, welcome. Hi, Lynn. Let's see you online. There you are.
Hello. Hi. My name is Lynn Doan, and I'm here representing APONO, fellow commissioners, and I want to testify for the Climate Friendly Public Schools project. So I am a staff at APONO, community-based organization. I'm also a resident of the city of Portland. I'm here to support the efforts of Portland Clean Energy Fund. It is one of the most innovative, crucial program funding source to solve our environmental and climate justice. And I asked you to honor the original purpose of PSEF, to make sustainable and sustained investments in projects that's both reducing greenhouse gas emissions, economic, social, and environmental benefits to our community. As a mother and a parent of students in Portland Public Schools, I urge you to support this program and to put into action our commitment to our children and our youth. I ask the council to fulfill the role of voters and call on city leaders to preserve its mission and support our the progressive and innovative initiatives that PSEF has spearheaded thus far. Thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you. Next testifier.
Also online is Linda Martin McCormick.
Hello.
Oh,
welcome. Thank you. As they said, my name is Linda Martin McCormick. I'm a grandmother of 2 children at Marysville Elementary School, soon to be 3 children at Marysville Elementary. Marysville Elementary is a small, 385 student pre-K-5 elementary school at right about 78th and Foster, behind Foster. And we are a Title I school with kids from lots of different backgrounds, lots of different cultures, learning styles, status of home, we're a mix. And we are also going to be a pilot site for testing the kinds of heating and cooling systems that the school system might implement. So we're very happy to be a test site. We heard that you all were advancing the agreement to carry out the PSEF project. So we really just wanted to send somebody down to say, thank you so much. We are we're very honored to be a test site. We'd love you to come down and see us sometime, and happy that you're doing it, and just very proud of our city council. So before I go, I just want to share this picture with you. I hope you can see it. It's a melted water bottle. This bottle melted during the summer school program, summer of 2022, at another elementary school. The parents shared it with me. The room was so hot that the water bottles melted. And I want you to remember this image. I'd be happy to send it to you framed so you can put it on your wall and remember what you're working on and how urgent it is. Because the kid whose water bottle belonged to was a kid who has really strong heat sensitivity, and he actually had a seizure the day after sitting in this school. So, I know you know about all the things and all the problems, but I just felt like this image, was the photo that was worth 1,000 words. So thank you again for all your hard work. And thank you on behalf of Marysville Elementary School. Come and see us.
Well, thank you, Linda, and thank you for that powerful testimony. And I'm sure that you will be getting some visits from members of this council soon. Next testifier, please.
Jacob Apenas.
Welcome, Jacob.
Hi, Portland City Council.
Hi.
For the record, my name is Jacob Apenas. I'm 25 years old and an organizer with Sunrise PDX, we're a youth-led climate justice movement. I'm excited to see much-needed climate investments coming to the schools that were foundational to my education. Portland is my hometown. I went to Reiki Elementary, Robert Gray Middle School, and Wilson High School, which is now called Ida B. Wells. During my time as a student, I remember sitting in classrooms where heaters were broken. I remember their loud banging failing to keep me warm as they struggled to function. Windows might as well have been open all year round as they did nothing to keep out the cold air. I remember 100-degree days feeling like 105 inside due to no air conditioning. I remember Wells High School having their roof replaced while I was a student. We almost had to close half the school during that time because summer construction was going slow. I also remember Reiki Elementary was threatened with closure due to under-enrollment. Ironically enough, I spent 5th grade in a portable classroom next to Reiki due to over-enrollment. That's all to really say that Portland does not maintain our schools as much as it should. It really does enjoy deferred maintenance. These investments from PSEF for climate resiliency are the type of investments that I wished we had invested in when I was a student. This project also upholds the intent of PSEF, which is to support projects that fight for the climate crisis and invest in poor and working class families. I hope we keep PSEF focused on climate justice. One study commissioned by the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability estimates that it will take upwards of $49 billion to make Portland climate resilient. PSEF is just a drop in the bucket to our overall need. Let's keep PSEF as a fund to fight our climate crisis, not turn it into a slush fund for our cash-strapped bureaus. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jacob. And I believe we have one more person signed up to testify.
Chloe Gilmore.
Welcome, Chloe.
Hi, City Commissioners. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you today. I come here on behalf of Portland Youth Climate Strike because my friend Jorge was unable to come today. We are a group of students from across Portland working to make climate justice action a priority in state and citywide politics. We have also organized student walkouts that have drawn thousands of students in Portland Public Schools out of class to fight for their futures. I'm a senior at Lincoln High School in PPS. First, I want to say thank you for the Portland Clean Energy Fund's contributions to grassroots community-driven projects, and I hope these will continue in the future. Climate emergencies are becoming more rampant, frequent, and unavoidable in our city, and the effects of the climate crisis are visible within classrooms already. We need to prioritize equitable, clean, and safe schools in PPS because no student should have to worry about their health and safety when attending school each day. There are plenty of schools and thousands of students that go to school while exposed to pollution, temperatures that are too hot or too cold, and dangerous crumbling building infrastructure, which disproportionately impacts poor, working class, Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. We see this in PPS, and we also see this in Park Rose, where the Prologis company is attempting to construct a distribution center that will pollute high levels of diesel pollution, which will exacerbate an already existing public health crisis due to air pollution. It is unjust that students are subjected to these hazardous conditions and that teachers are tasked with raising the next generation in them. How are students expected to focus in 90-degree classrooms? How are students expected to succeed in polluted air and extreme temperatures? Before my school got rebuilt, I remember dripping in sweat because of increasingly hot temperatures during a heat wave in my sophomore year. It was impossible to learn, and many of my peers struggled with test performance on these days. These conditions will only worsen in the face of the climate crisis. As a leader of my school's Environmental Justice Club, we have implemented multiple community-based initiatives like Earth Day events, presenting to elementary schools, educating peers about environmental justice, and mobilizing them to take action and protest. With more funding for student-led projects, we could implement community gardens, compost, tree planting, and local projects to build climate resiliency. I hope you listen to community members today. And in addition to supporting increased PSEF funding, Portland Youth Climate Strike urges the City of Portland to reject the Prologis permit, as this is a clear example of environmental racism. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe we have one more person signed up to testify.
Mark D'Arienzo.
Welcome, Mark. Come on up.
I appreciate the opportunity to testify, and my name is Mark D'Arienzo, and I'm with the Climate Jobs PDX. It's the Environmental Committee of Jobs with Justice, which is an organization made up of many labor and community groups. Along with many others, we worked hard to get PSEF on the ballot and passed. We believe it's important to keep the mission, the PSEF mission and funding intact, and the projects under this agreement fit with the mission of PSEF, and we support approval of the IGA. We are also looking forward to seeing more of these types of opportunities in the future. Thank you. And this is the first time I've ever read from my phone.
You did it great.
Testimony. So it's a first for me, so.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for being here today. We heard you loud and clear, and you have mastered the phone teleprompter for sure. Let me check with the clerk. Is that all the testimony that we have
That
today?
concludes testimony.
Okay, great. Colleagues, that is the end of our invited and public testimony. Are there any questions for staff or our panelists? I think I'm hearing none. That's the message. Commissioner Rubio, I don't know the answer to this question, but do you have any closing comments?
I don't, I'm very grateful for the presentation. It was great, and also the quality of the testimony today was wonderful, and it was a good affirmation of why we need this fund and how far-reaching it goes, and the opportunity that we have to do more. So thank you, everybody, for showing up today.
Yeah, and if I could jump in here too, I want to thank everyone who testified today, especially the young folks who showed up and explained why they're excited about this next batch of grants, and talked to us a little bit about what they hope to accomplish. Also, my thanks to all the volunteers who are deeply engaged and excited about what this funding can do for their local schools. You know, I got 2 kids. One in high school, one in elementary school, and I remember those hot summers from just a little bit ago too. So I do feel all the way down in my bones what a difference this program could make. With that, colleagues, if there is no more discussion, I believe that this item can go on to second reading on May 2nd. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, and thanks everyone, especially for coming in today in person. It's great to see so many. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, I think we're on track, assuming Oh, no, you did great.